I'm willing to give up some money to play with Juve. The field will speak, and then Thiago Motta will judge with his own eyes. These were the words of Paul Pogba yesterday evening that were released and that leaked on every social media. From an interview, a big one, a breaking one, a shocking one in a way, released in Paris to different journalists, Gazzetta dello Sport, ESPN, etc., etc. Paul, what did you do? Paul Labille Pogba, what did you do? Look, yesterday, I just finished recording the video. Juve Top Kids, that was speaking actually about 2007 born players from the world. List from The Guardian, and then the second part speaking about our own possible future stars. Players born in 2007, 08, 09, and even 2010. And before publishing that video, I said, should I just keep it for tomorrow? And now focusing on the first leaked words of Paul Pogba in that interview, because of course when he's saying I want to play again for Juve, I want to play for Juve, I will show Thiago Motta that I'm worth the trust. Well, I'm sure that it would have been a banger video with a lot of views, but I decided not to do it. You know what? Because I had that conflict in my head. What should I speak about in today's video this evening? The future and these kids? Or should I focus on the past? Because it hurts me, it pains to say, but Paul Pogba is the past of Juventus Football Club. It's not the present, and it will certainly not be the future. Ciao Juventini of the world, my name is Giuseppe, welcome back on the channel, I hope you're all doing well. Asking you if you didn't yet to put a maximum of like, continue to subscribe to the channel. I'm thinking that as we speak we are missing 2 new Juventini of the world to reach 34,200 Juventini of the world on this channel. And I'm sure that we can go towards 35, 40, and who knows, maybe even more, if we are able to find these Juventini. Anyway, can we start about Paul Pogba? Yes, we can. Pogba. Voglio la Juve, huge big page of Gazzetta dello Sport with Paul Pogba. Hand here on the chest of Juve. I want Juve. Huge big interview, a double page. Wow. I was not expecting it, and I will tell you even more. Juventus was not expecting it. You know, I have the luxury, I have the opportunity, the gift of God to be able to play. To be a partner of Juve. I represented them on Twitch the last 3 seasons. This time I'm doing side activities with Juve from time to time, and I know how it works. You know, if there is a reason why there are no actual players from Juventus or from any other club that are going on YouTube and releasing interview. The one of Szczesny that we saw on the channel of Luca Zoselli is our own initiative of Szczesny after he stopped being a player of Juve. Then you can do whatever you want, but as long as you are at Juve, you need a formal approval from the club to say you can go and you can have an interview. Then of course, if you go and you want to play Fortnite with a friend of you, you can, as long as you pay attention to what you are saying. But the player, they need, if they go for an interview, especially that kind of interview, a formal approval from the club, which they didn't give the club because they didn't know about that interview. It was in Paris with a lot of journalists where he was speaking with open heart. You know what? Yesterday, I read the first words. In the evening, I started to read in our Telegram group translated by Mo, and then also on Gazzetta dello Sport, the full interview of Pogba. But it's not that actually gave me the most emotions, strange emotions, but it's actually this morning when I started to see the first videos live of that interview. You know what? It made me sad. Usually when I think about Pogba, especially about Pogba 1.0, it gave me happiness, it gave me strength, it gave me things that, wow, a kid can make it. There are wonders in football. But yesterday when I saw him speaking in English, in Italian, to the journalist, I saw a Paul Pogba that is totally lost. Seriously, that was the feeling that he gave me, a lost Pogba. I was pitying him, which is sad, huh? Which is sad. If you're at the point of pitying one of your favorite players ever, we come so far. What did he say? The most crucial part of that interview. He said, the love of the fans never stopped. And I think that, according to me, I never stopped loving him. I will always love Paul Pogba, like a lot of Juventini do. just look at the reaction of yesterday. When the first words were released, a lot of people were saying, if he's willing to go lower in his contract, we should give him a chance. Immediately a lot of Juventini. Pogba, Pogba, Pogba. But then he said I couldn't have contact with the Juve members because of legal reasons. Many former teammates, they contacted me. Quadrado called me every single day. Dybala, Vlahovic, McKennie, Weah, Moiskin, they all contacted me. I was not expecting that much because in life, everyone has their own problems. And then he speaks about Thiago Motta. No, I didn't get the chance to talk to him, but that moment will come. I only think about being ready to train and to play with Juve. I am now a Juve player. No, I'm now a player at Juve. In my head, there is only this today. I don't decide. If Motta calls me, I would be honored. I want to go back. I'm ready to give up money to play again with Juve or at Juve. This is the big, huge part of the interview. I will come back with my opinion about that in a second. He spoke about the supplement, about the doping. He spoke about the surgery. In that interview about the doping, he said, look, it's not about reading or not the label of what I took. It's just actually having trust in a professional. I repeat, a professional. It was not intentional. I'm an honest person. If I would have taken it, I would have said it. But I won't repeat it again, that's for sure. I hope so, Paul, I hope so. I know. Because if you go back to play football, that it's with Juve or whatever club, you can't make the same mistake, because then unintentional, then it starts to be intentional, because that's your own stupidity, your own mistake. I always say you can do mistakes, but you need to grow from it. You need to learn from it. Then he spoke about the meniscus, saying, why didn't we do it right away? He said, I didn't decide alone to not do that surgery. No one in a big club can decide things alone. On that one, guy, Paul, we spoke about these facts in the past, that, of course, a club cannot deny a player to choose what they do with their own body. That's impossible. The player is the one that has the final word. So if the player totally decides, of course, the club will agree at the end. But we know, and we spoke about it, and we have evidence that the club was totally against it in the beginning, but then they couldn't refuse. Anyway, he spoke about that in that interview, but then he spoke to the number 10, to Kenan Yildiz. He said, look, the number is not mine. It's not my number 10. When I left Juve, I didn't take that number 10 with me. The 10 remained at Juve for other players possibly to wear it or not. When I saw the first time Kenan Yildiz, I said immediately, this guy needs to be in the first team. Juventus did really well to give him the 10, because at the time that they gave it, the number was free. I was banned for 4 years, so it makes totally sense. I totally understand. It's a fantastic guy. It's a great guy that totally deserves it. So, beautiful words from Paul to Kenan Yildiz. It's good one. That part I really, really liked, also transmitting that. Then, to be honest, the number 10 is not the favorite number of Paul Pogba. Not sure if he would have reacted like that if it was his loved and beloved number 6. Spoke about the renewal of Vlahovic. I'm sure that a lot of people will speak about that today, saying, an advice, as a friend, I would tell Dusan to follow his heart, whereas as a teammate, I would tell him to stay at Juve. A lot of people will probably think, what are you saying, Paul? As a friend, you can choose and choose with your heart. That means leave Juve. Is Dusan Vlahovic thinking with his heart to go somewhere else or not? What he's actually saying, it's a bit cryptic there. No, actually, totally not. He's saying, as a teammate, he's a strong, fantastic guy. Stay at Juve because we need to win together. But then, as a friend, choose with your heart, which is actually the most beautiful thing. Choose with your heart. That's the advice that you need to give to a lot of people. Choose with your heart what you want to do with your future. He spoke about the Scudetto. Who will win it? I hope Juve. What about the Champions League? Juventus has a chance, like a lot of clubs have a chance. He spoke about Marseille. He was laughing. He said it's actually an idea thrown there by Patrice Evra because he's friends with Benatia, because he played there, because he's a big friend of me, but it's more a joke than something else. About Serie A today, impossible to play with another Serie A team, but then now it's the moment to focus on Juve, the only shirt that I want to wear at the moment. Spoke about Allegri, about the past, about the future of Allegri. Spoke about Antonio Conte, that was really tactically really, really strong, that one day made a mistake because he was yelling, screaming to Giorgio Chiellini to do a back pass, but he was screaming so loud that the opponent heard it, and actually they scored a goal, which at the end Antonio Conte went in the locker room and he apologized to everyone. beautifully spoke about Ibrahimovic because we know that they are big friends. They play together at Manchester United. He said he knows that I'm playing with Juve, that they have a contract with Juve. Spoke about the Champions League, we already said, and then he spoke again about the percentages of seeing him in March with Juve. Are your chances more or less than 1%? He said it doesn't 100% depends on me. Depends on Juve, depends on the project of Juve, depends of course also on Thiago Motta, but I am preparing myself to play with Juve. And that was in big part the interview of Paul Pogba. Intense interview, big interview, speaking about the youth, about the Champions League, about his wishes, about his dream. The text only will not give you the full perspective of Paul. You really need to look into his eyes to understand it, to hear his tempo, his intonation, how he's behaving when he's speaking, because that will tell you much more. A guy that is, I tell you, lost, that has dreams, that wants to show the world. He said at a certain moment, I am more hungry than ever, I am more wiser, I will not make the same mistakes. So you see really that he knows that he messed up, and he wants to, to when you break a glass and you want desperately to stick it again together, to glue it together, but it's over, and you know it. Look, when I told you in the beginning that Juventus was not aware of it, I think that Juventus will be pissed off again, because that's the problem of Paul Pogba. He wants to do the things really well and showing, guys, I'm ready. Like Del Piero did one time, going in front of microphones and camera, signing a contract on a blank contract, saying it's Juve that decides how long, was not appreciated at all by Juve. These kinds of initiatives are not appreciated at all by Juve. You remember, Agnelli was forced to. He gave him 1 year at 1 million, and then immediately in October, the year after, he said this is the last year of Alessandro Del Piero. If Juventus reacted like that correctly, I think for Alessandro Del Piero, painful but correctly, the same thing will happen with Paul Pogba, guys. He can't go in front of microphones without the club deciding and saying, I'm here, I want to cut my salary if needed to play with Juve. It's good intention. It's not about the intention that we are discussing. It's the way of that surgery, the doping, this interview that is not as harsh as the other ones, but still a big one. You're confronting Juve. I think that Juventus will be absolutely not happy. And it's not a coincidence that this morning Gazzetta dello Sport at 7 a.m. they wrote an article about the future of Paul Pogba, but from a Juve point of view, like Tutto Sport is also telling us, like Nico Schira, like Fabrizio Romano. Yes, your will is to stay, but the club already decided, and by the way, everyone is already in contact with his lawyers and so on, to stop the contract of Paul Pogba, trying to do it before the end of January so that you give him the possibility to go to another club. But he knows, because he's saying it, what about my future? At this moment, I'm at Juve, so I don't know what will happen. All the parties are discussing, the lawyers, etc. I would like to know what will happen to me. Look, I would like to know what will happen to me. These are actually, nobody will speak about it, but I think that from all that interview, this is the most important one. I would like to know what will happen to me. That is absolutely a valid request from Paul, but I think that us, the fans, we all also want to know what will happen to Paul Pogba and his future. Should we speak about it every time, every month, every week, every day? Or can we just get over it? I think that will be a big request. Or Juve goes in front of microphone and they said, until the end of the season, Paul Pogba is our player. Or we extend Paul Pogba for zero money and he stays with us for the next 5 years. Or like, it will happen, guys, we stop. At least we can get over it and we can focus again on the future and not anymore on the past. Grazie, forza, Juve.